We now head over to the fixed income market as traders at UBA expect the bond market to remain quiet ahead of Monday's 360 billion naira bond auction. Chuka Nwachukwu, head of ALM and balance sheet management, joins me now to discuss more on the activities at the fixed income market. Chuka, thank you so much for joining us on the show today. Let's start off with the level of liquidity, system liquidity we have in the market and the highs and lows we've seen this week.
The system has been very liquid despite the CRR debate on Wednesday. Well over 400 billion was taken out of the system, and as at this morning, we have about over 440 billion still in the market. However, today will be the settlement for the Sukuk. About 300 to 350 billion will also leave the market, and that will probably leave the market slightly a bit tight.
And in terms of the subscription rate, we also saw for the midweek auction as well. How was the response of investors?
Yeah, this is one of the lowest volume, below 37 billion. We saw about 212 basis point drop in yield from 11.37 it came out the last time, that's 1 year, to 9.25. Subscription was well over 300 billion, and so you see how liquid the system has been, and that's that's shortfall is still in the market, and that has also affected the yield.
And for you, this is not coming as a surprise because we had earlier preempted that within these ember months, the last 3 months of the year, that we are going to see volumes below that 100 billion naira threshold. But for you now, going forward, as we are looking towards the outlook for next week now, let's look at, especially with the focus on the bond auction for Monday. What should we expect? How does this also tilt the balance in the market?
Yeah, if you look at the way the market has played out, market sentiment is largely around liquidity, and that obviously has affected part of most of the activities in the market. So going into next week bond auction, as usual, 360 billion will be offered. The last time it was undersubscribed, so less than 270 billion. But we expect that with this level of liquidity in the system, we will see a significant subscription. We expect also to see probably about maybe 10 basis point movement, especially on the 1 year, especially on the longer end, which is the 2053, 1 year movement, upward movement in yield. But by and large, I don't think there will be more significant a change in terms of upward movement. It will go up, but gradually.
And talking about demand levels as well now, for the 2028 bond paper, we've seen just minimal demand so far. How long do you think the shorter end of the curve will take this reduced volumes?
Yeah, the reason why we see a lot of activities, especially the past couple of weeks, especially the last 3 weeks, more activities on the shorter end of the curve of the bond. This is because it's quite, it offers an alternative rather than going for 1 year at about 11%. The 2026, the shorter end of the curve, 2027, 2028, trading around the 13, 14 levels. I think it offers a better option for investors. So that actually is why we have this attraction on the shorter end of the curve for the bond market.
And Chuka, one of the elements as well on the radar of so many market watchers is the pronouncement from the CBN, the lifting of the ban on the 43 items and the plan for the CBN to intervene much more in the FX market, and also expected inflation numbers as well. That should come out anytime from Sunday or Monday now. This also definitely gives some inclination of what to expect from the CBN, the Monetary Policy Committee. We've not heard so much, yet these droplets of information are quite weighty. Until we get that clarity from the MPC, how do you see the market responding to these informations that filter until November?
Yeah, I think that what CBN has done is actually reversing what should have been done a long time ago. I mean, the banning of the 43 items that were banned from the FX market. For me personally, I felt kind of like assisted or aided the problem we face on the FX side. Now, what CBN is trying to do is to converge both the parallel market and the I&E window by introducing this reintroducing these 43 items, and that will obviously, move part of the pressure from the prior market into the I&E window. And so that convergence we see. However, things will become clearer after the first MPC meeting with this new CBN leadership. And so they gradually will begin to see some of their policies played out. Some of the activities we see in the FS market will, especially as regard the monetary policy as well, will also begin to play out, and then we have a clearer picture. But I don't think we will see anything, or market will react, just yet, except after the first MPC meeting.
And it's quite symbolic to say that we would have Olayemi Cardoso as the CBN governor holding the first meeting come November, and then this also marks the very last meeting for the year 2023. But let's talk about the currency markets a little bit more. I know you are pretty coy about the developments within the parallel market. You don't like to speak much about it, but I'd raised this question with you much earlier. Your expectation, how you see this widening spread being curtailed. This week, the Naira has traded against the greenback well over 1,000 Naira. Are you still playing conservative when you're looking at the widening spread between the I&E window and what's going on in the parallel market?
I think presently the I&E window is trading around 759.2 levels. That's a bit of appreciation from 776 levels. You asked me this question, but I'm going to give you my answer this way. What CBN has done by reintroducing this 43 item is a way of addressing the wider gap between the parallel market and the I&E window, because most of these demands going into the parallel market will then now be brought into the I&E window, and that's where we begin to see gradual convergence. I don't think that the policy will, the way it is now, will still allow this widespread between I&E. Well over 300 Naira, spread between I&E and the parallel market. So I think this policy will help to, to bridge that gap, and hopefully it will help us to understand and then be able to determine what an exchange rate will be, in terms of demand and supply.
Well, Chuka, we keep our fingers crossed to see what pans out for next week, Monday, as the auction happens, and then inflation numbers would come out for the month of September. Thank you so much for speaking with us, Chuka. That is Chuka Nwachukwu, Head of ALM and Balance Sheet Management at UBA.